Hi everybody, this is Scott Snyder from SunDial Technologies. I'd like to take this time to tell you about a brand new and exciting feature for SunDial. And this is called the SunDial Script / Form Builder. And the purpose of this is to replace the need for HTML based scripting in the SunDial agent. Now this feature is in the SunDial Remote Admin, and in order to function, it does require the newer SunDial agent, the .NET version of the SunDial agent. Now, in order to use this feature, the first thing that you'll need to do is in the SunDial Remote Admin system settings is enable it in the permissions. Enable Script Form Builder, and then in the main menu definition, make sure that you add scripts to the menu, and that will appear here. So once you have it set up, you can just simply click on the scripts icon and the script form builder will appear. Okay, now that we have the script form builder screen up, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a new script. So on the options menu, we're going to say create new script, and we're going to say Scott video demo form, and bam. Now here we have the first page of the script has been automatically created, and with scripts you'll be able to have multiple pages. Now, before we start dragging the controls into the form, I'd like to explain first what the controls are. You have a label, which is read-only text. You have text box, which allows entry and can populate and save data. You have a masked text box, which lets you allow restrictions on entry, like, for example, requires the slashes on dates or the dashes in a social security number. You have a rich text box, which allows formatted text of all different sizes, colors, fonts, and this is basically where you're going to put the majority of the text that the agent's going to read. You have check boxes for choices of entry, like if you're asking people information on the phone, and drop downs to allow yes/no selections, red, blue, the type of home they're in, so on. Buttons, which can be assigned to dispositions like sail or skip. You also have group boxes, and group boxes will let you group a set of controls, and this kind of makes it easier to move them around and create logical sections on the form. So when creating a typical script, the first thing you're usually going to do is you're going to go ahead and you're going to drag a rich text box onto the screen. And you'll see it snapped it at one of the grid positions. Now this allows you to size and move the controls around and keep them aligned, this grid. You can size controls with the mouse by moving to either to the right or to the bottom border of the form, and then you can go ahead and you can drag it to size it. You can expand it this way. Oops. You can also move the control around by moving the mouse to the top of the form to where the hand appears, and then you can move the control around. You can also use keys to move it around, like alternate arrows to move it up and down, left and right. And you can also size the control using the keys. Now I have a keystroke menu help here, which will actually show you to move a control with the keyboard, use control arrows to move, for example, to widen or narrow the control, control alt right arrow, control alt left arrow. Let's try that. Control alt, and see, there we go. We're sizing the control. Apparently control down arrow doesn't work, but I'll have to check that out. So I'm going to go ahead and close the help for now, and I'm going to start entering some text into the rich text. Hello, this is Scott, and I'm calling from SunDial. I'm not calling to sell you anything, so please relax. You can relax, can't you? Okay, so nice little telemarketing script there. If I right click on any of the controls, there's a context specific menu for those controls. Now I can go ahead and click on formatting toolbar here, and then I can highlight the text, for example, and make it bigger. and I can go through and I can highlight a certain word with the keyboard using the same type of keystrokes like you use to select text in Microsoft Word or any place else in Windows, like Control Shift right arrow, Control Shift left arrow. I'll put those in help also. And here I'm going to highlight the word sundial. I'm going to change the color of it to blue. You can also change the back color. Let's see, control properties. You can change, no, I guess you can't, I don't have it to where you can change the back color of the rich text box. Now you can also hit the properties of any control by going to right click and choosing control properties, and here you have the location, the size, the tab order, which is when you hit tab, which jumps from which control to which control, the parent control, which is what page it's on, and the control names. Now the control names are named automatically, like rich text box 1, rich text box 2, and so on, so that's how the system knows they're unique and you can't really change those names. Other formatting things you can do in the rich text boxes, you can bold things right there. You can justify, left, right, justify, align text is what I'm saying, and so on. I'm going to go ahead and make this a little bit smaller, and the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a label on here, and the label is going to say, and I'm going to move it over. I like to use the keys to move things over, and it's going to say, what are you doing right now? And I'm going to go ahead and expand it. Get you try the arrows be a little easier there. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a text box there, and then that will be where they can enter the information, nothing, and so on. Let's delete that. Next thing I'll do is I'll put another label on here and move that around with the keys, and let's say, what's your social security number? And I'll go ahead and size this one here, control alternate right arrow. Oops, make that a little bit smaller, control alternate left arrow. I guess there's a minor sizing problem. These are little bugs I'm still working out, but this is new. Size this one, see if that one snaps. And I'll put a mask text box on there. And for the mask, I click on there. You can see here's the control properties of that. For the mask, I can put, and that will require, it will automatically format it for a social security number, like that. Bam. Let's delete that data, or else that'll come up in the script as a default social security number, which we don't want. The next thing we'll do is create a text box, and it says, let's see, we'll make this, let's say, you crazy man, and that will be, true or false. And then we can go ahead and we can put a drop down. Actually, we don't have a label for this drop down, and so let's go ahead and create a label for the drop down, and we'll call it is your hair currently on fire? And then we'll go ahead and we'll create that, and we'll move this drop down up. Now these are real questions, obviously, that people will be asking while they're on the phone. Now we have the drop down. We're going to go ahead and we're going to put some items in the drop down, and we're going to say yes, no, bald, oops, what's hair, and so on, and we'll put that there. Now you have the choices. Neato. Okay, next we're going to go ahead and we're going to add a button, and we'll go ahead and put this button here, and we'll bring up the control properties again and change it to say sale, and then we'll choose the button action. There's only one button action right now called dispo, and we'll put in sale disposition. Also, as I mentioned, we have group boxes, and a group box will just basically let you group a set of controls together and move them all around together. I'm going to delete that for now. I do want to show you something neat, and there's on the page menu there's an insert menu. You could say insert contact information, and now you have the contact information placed in one nice group right here. If you look at the actual fields in the contact info, you'll see load from leads table, first name, last name, and so on. Next, I'm going to go ahead and show you this options menu right here. The options menu lets you create a new script, rename an existing script, and delete a script. Now these are the scripts listed right here. Now in programmer speak, these are actually like the header records that have the script, and the controls are in what's called detail records. You can also save a script form as another name. So for example, if you want to create like script templates, for example, one called mortgage, you could save it as ABC Mortgage and Chase Mortgage and so on. And this is going to be very helpful for people that are doing similar projects. Now, assign campaigns to script. This is equivalent to the old camp.html.cfg file that was on the legacy SunDial agent. Now here you see I've assigned this Scott demo form to as a default, and also to this campaign called Harry Aho, which is a client of mine in Finland. And I'll show you what happens if I go ahead and simulate a connect. So I'm going to log into the new SunDialAgent.net as admin, say connect, pick the Harry Aho campaign, screen pop, and there we go. Here's the script that we just created. First name, last name, so on, automatically populated. You can see the drop down information is there. You can see that the fields are restricted. Now the tab order is not correct. You see if I tab around, and that's because I never set it in the control properties. So I can do that at some point. Let me see, where is the tab order? Right there. So back to the options menu. We also have the ability to export the script as XML if you need to save it and maybe send it to us to look at, or import it from XML. You can also click this to say send info to SunDial, and this will bring up a trace, and you can actually report the issue, hit send, and it'll email SunDial Tech Support. The default form builder properties are, for example, the button back colors, the checkbox back colors, the fonts. Now, all these fonts, by the way, have dialogues on them. So theoretically, they do. And let's see, there we go. So they have the typical Windows font dialog, and all the back colors have the color dialog. This is where you can set your defaults. Also on the options menu, you have a checkbox to reopen the form at startup, which is this form here. And so when the SunDial Remote Admin starts, it'll bring this up. And you can enable agent events. Now we haven't spoken about events yet, but enabling agent events will make the design mode of the form builder act like an agent is entering data. So if you want to test what happens if they enter a certain value, do the events work? The next thing I'm going to show you is the page right-click menu. Now the page right-click menu lets you get to the page properties. You can also change the page background color, and there should have been a dialog for that, another thing I need to make a note of. But you can also change it in here, so if you want to make the background color something offensive like this, awesome. We also can go ahead and if the control toolbar gets hidden, you can show it. It's not going to be hidden typically. You can delete, you can insert labels, controls, contact information, disposition buttons. You can also insert lead fields. So you can say I want to insert the campaign, and you can drag it. Actually, you double click it or drag it. I don't remember. You drag it. There we go. And now you have a campaign field with a text box. The same for agent input fields. You can also delete the current control, selected controls, all controls on the page. You can delete the entire page in the controls. You can copy selected controls, clear any selections of controls, paste the copy control, paste the multiple copy controls, view edit event handlers, which I'll show you, view a control list, which will show you all the controls on the page. reset the toolbar positions, and you can undo a delete of a control. On the actual controls, on the right-click menu, you can get the control properties. You can delete the control, delete selected controls, copy this control, duplicate this control, undo the last move, undo the last resize, and view the edit the event handlers. Okay, as you can tell, this script form builder works pretty well. It does have some bugs in it. I believe it is usable if somebody wants to beta test it. It does need beta testing. It's been kind of slow this summer, and there's not been that many clients around, so I really haven't been able to thoroughly test it, but you're welcome to if you contact me. One of the most important things, or one of maybe an interesting thing, is this event handling that I've created. And the event handlers will in effect give you logic branching. So you can basically say, for this text box, I want to validate it, and if it equals, let's see, clams, then take a certain action. Go back to the control so they can correct their information. Go to control, go to a page, enable, disable the control, set a value, show a message. This is really going to be a powerful part of this feature. As I mentioned, and see, it's a little buggy, as I said. Let's get that out of the way. As I mentioned, you could have multiple pages. So if we have page 2, page 3, and so on, you'll be able to jump between them. Either they can jump between them themselves, the agents, or you can make it so it automatically jumps to the next page when you leave a certain field, or when a value changes, or so on. There are a lot of other features that I'm thinking about adding. For example, the ability to move controls into a group box that already exists. Some just easier ways to do things, and of course I'm always open to suggestions. So and again, please let me know if you'd like to beta test this, or if you like it once it's released to everybody. It is ready. It does need the new SunDialAgent.net, which you're also welcome to play with, and it only works on the SunDial Hybrid and Pure dialers. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.